Regarding legal status. Regarding legal status. Regarding legal status. China has consistently asserted that Fiery Cross Reef is part of the Nansha Islands, which Vietnam refers to as the Spratly Islands, while affirming that the Nansha Islands are an inalienable part of China's territory. In reality, Phuoc Tan Shoal lies on Vietnam's continental shelf and within its 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, which has been established in accordance with international legal provisions, with the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. At the same time, this maritime area has been consistently and peacefully exploited by Vietnam over the long term for its specific economic entitlements. It is not that sovereignty claims have only emerged now, nor is it an area currently under maritime dispute. Vietnam affirms that, in accordance with the provisions of Article 60 of the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, regulations on artificial islands, installations, and structures in the exclusive economic zone, and Article 80 stipulates provisions on artificial islands, installations, and structures on the continental shelf. Vietnam has the right to construct, permit, and regulate the construction, exploitation, and use of artificial islands. Equipment and installations must be used only for the purposes specified in Article 56 of the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or for other economic purposes in the exclusive economic zone and on the continental shelf. Vietnam affirms that it has no intention of turning submerged shoals on the southern continental shelf, including Phuoc Tan Shoal, into islands, and does not associate them with the Spratly Islands, while also rejecting that manner of association. The process of constructing the DK-1 platforms on the Tu Chin Bank. Following the 1988 Spratly Islands naval skirmish, many Chinese warships and survey vessels began to appear regularly in this area. Deep within Vietnam's southern continental shelf lies an area rich with potential, boasting abundant oil and gas reserves as well as plentiful marine resources, and holds significant strategic importance for our nation's defense and security efforts. With strategic vision, after discovering 7 underwater banks, including the Phuoc Tan Bank, Vietnam has pursued construction on all reefs and shoals under its sovereignty. Officially named the Economic, Scientific Technical Service Station, this structure is abbreviated as DK-1. However, unlike the Vung May platform in the previous video, where we could easily pinpoint the locations of the 3 DK-1 platforms, when looking at Google Maps, it is difficult to precisely determine the location of the stalls at Phuoc Tan Beach. Since 1989, Vietnam has constructed steel structures, known as DK-1 platforms, on the Tu Chin Bank. Navy. Later, the station was transferred to the command of the Navy Region 2 for management and operation. Specifically, after more than a month of racing against the schedule, the implementation of the policy to build the Economic Scientific Service Complex has yielded initial results. From June 10 to June 15, 1989, the Ministry of Transport collaborated with the Engineer Command. DK-1 third platform has been installed and erected, also known as the service platform. With a usable area of approximately 25 square meters, the structure weighs 250 tons and stands 45 meters tall, towering over the vast open sea. And the DK-1 third platform is also the first fully completed offshore platform we built on the southern continental shelf area. Immediately after the offshore platform was completed, a unit from the 171st Brigade of the Vietnam People's Navy was deployed to begin its mission. Thatched huts and pigeon coops were the folksy terms fishermen used to refer to the DK-1 platforms in their early days of construction. That's because the house is too small compared to the vast ocean. As the first generation, the DK-1 platforms at sea had a relatively rudimentary structure and an antiquated design. A large rectangular metal buoy, placed on a coral base, is easily swayed and bobs in the water. A tragic drowning occurred at Phuoc Tan Beach due to strong level 4 waves and a powerful rip current. In early December 1990, a major storm with winds of force 10 to 11 swept through the DK-1 area. At 9 p.m. on December 4, 1990, during a fierce storm, the DK-1 platform on the Tu Chin Reef was struck by high waves and knocked off kilter. Back then, the soldiers' equipment was extremely rudimentary and lacking in every aspect. There were 8 soldiers in the prison, but only 5 life jackets. Among them, 4 were punctured and 1 was torn. At this time, the commander of the detention camp was Lieutenant Bui Zon Bong, while political commissar Lieutenant Tran Hu Quang held the position of deputy commander. And a security guard named Bao voluntarily did not wear a life jacket. After reporting the situation to the command headquarters and realizing the extreme danger, Lieutenant Bong and Lieutenant Quang sent their final farewell to the mainland. At 2 a.m. on December 5th, a massive wave suddenly struck. The ship was unable to withstand it and was sunk into the sea. Lieutenant Bong remained exceptionally calm, directing the remaining soldiers to put on life jackets and board the life raft before he and everyone else jumped into the pitch-black sea. After receiving reports that the DK-1 platform on Ba Kay Shoal had collapsed, the Naval Service Command immediately ordered ships on duty in the area, namely HQ 996, HQ 997, and HQ 999, to urgently proceed to the scene for rescue and to support the soldiers on the platform. On December 5th, between 6:30 and 1900, the search and rescue forces successfully located and provided emergency aid to 5 soldiers. Among them was Comrade Lieutenant Bui Zan Bong, the head of the reconnaissance team. In the following days, the Navy continued to dispatch ships HQ-07, HQ-11, and HQ-682 to sea to search for the 3 missing comrades. However, due to the violent sea conditions, the rescue efforts encountered significant difficulties. The rescue vessels were unable to locate their comrades. 3 soldiers of the DK-1 platform, Deputy Commander Lieutenant Tran Hu Quang, Lieutenant Tran Van Le, Medical Corps, and Corporal Ho Van Hien, bravely sacrificed themselves, forever resting with the sea. You heroically sacrificed yourselves for the cause of protecting the fatherland's southern continental shelf. Following the tragic incident that claimed the lives of 3 soldiers at the DK-1 platform on Phuc Tan Shoal, Vietnam proceeded with the construction of additional platforms. This move took place against the backdrop of China's increasing influence in the South China Sea. At the Phuc Tan Archipelago, from 1993 to 1997, we constructed an additional 4 offshore platforms. These were second-generation platforms, designed to replace the previous older model. The structures were built to be durable, with 4 steel piles driven deep into the coral rock foundation and solid concrete. The 2 upper floors are solidly structured, capable of withstanding and remaining standing through Category 12 storms. Therefore, the DK-1 platform on the Collins Reef, also known as the Phuc Tan A platform, was completed on August 18, 1993. The previous older platforms at a location about 3.5 nautical miles, equivalent to 6.5 kilometers, away had been destroyed by waves. 3 years later, the 2 DK-1 platforms, including DK-116, Phuc Tan B, and DK-117, Phuc Tan C, were completed on August 20th and August 23, 1996, respectively. And the final offshore platform was completed on Phuc Tan Shoal on April 13, 1997, which was DK-1 platform number 18, also known as Phuc Tan D platform. Like other submerged reefs, a new generation of multi-span houses has now been constructed at Phuc Tan Reef. This is considered the 3rd generation of multi-span houses, built with more advanced techniques and experience, replacing the degraded 2nd-generation structures. This new model of offshore platform features a more spacious and robust design, thanks to the application of an interlinked structure based on deep water drilling rigs, enabling it to withstand the year-round powerful waves and fierce winds in the East Sea. The upper section consists of 3 floors for living and working. The foundation piling system of the offshore platform is driven 30 to 40 meters deep from the coral seabed, ensuring the stability of the entire structure above. The 2nd-generation terminals will remain intact and be connected to the new terminal via a steel bridge approximately 50 meters long. A helipad was built on the terminal roof to serve research teams and respond to emergency situations. Currently, at Phuc Tan Beach, there is a lighthouse managed and operated by the Southern Maritime Safety Corporation under the Ministry of Transport. Built before 1994, this lighthouse has a tower height of 23.4 meters. Its nominal range is 10 nautical miles during the day and 12 nautical miles at night, with a white light flashing every 5 seconds. The Phuc Tan Lighthouse is installed on the DK-1 to 18 platform. It serves to mark the location of the Phuc Tan underwater reef, aiding ships in navigation and helping them determine their position in the sacred southern waters of the fatherland. Life on Phuc Tan Beach has changed dramatically today. It is no longer just a pristine beach but has become a bustling destination with full amenities for tourists. The local community has transitioned from traditional fishing to developing tourism services such as accommodation, dining, and entertainment. The simple thatched roofs have gradually been replaced by more solid and well-built houses. Although life has become more modern and vibrant, the local residents have retained their inherent simplicity, sincerity, and warm hospitality. This development has brought a new, dynamic vitality to this land. It can be said that life on the offshore platforms has never ceased to be harsh and fraught with hardship. In the past, life on the offshore platforms was extremely difficult and deprived. There was no electricity, fresh water was scarce, and communication with the mainland was also limited. Logistical operations can only be conducted on days with favorable weather conditions and are limited to 2 campaigns per year, around March and August. The logistical situation was also very challenging, as transporting goods by boat or helicopter encountered numerous obstacles. Personnel stationed on the DK-1 platform typically have to work for at least 8 to 9 months before they can return to the mainland. Reaching the lives of soldiers on offshore platforms has always been a challenge for those afraid of heights. To reach the living quarters of the soldiers, the working delegation had to climb steep staircases, dozens of meters above sea level. It is precisely because of these challenging conditions that the offshore platforms on the southern continental shelf, including the 4 platforms at Phuc Tan Shoal, consistently receive regular attention and support from the mainland. Currently, each offshore platform is equipped with over 100 solar panels. This system can sufficiently supply electricity for training activities and daily living for a continuous period of 3 to 5 days during sunless conditions or stormy weather. In addition, this area also has Viasat mobile network coverage, cable television, and so on. Thanks to this, all developments on the mainland as well as on the islands and at sea were promptly grasped by the soldiers. Currently, all 4 offshore platforms have been equipped with seawater desalination systems to address the shortage of domestic water and water for growing vegetables for the soldiers guarding these remote outposts at sea. It can be said that the system of equipment and facilities on the DK-1 platform